The second activity of personal cost planning process in the SAP system is to create a so-called cost plan. Therefore, SAP provides several reports too. So if you go back to your menu, you find a folder called Cost Plans. And there you have a transaction which is called Manage. In these transactions, you see several folders, so you have the options to structure your personal cost plans in a folder structure. Each of those cost plans has several planning runs. So if you open them, you see that you have several subfolders there. Those planning runs then contain the actual cost data. So for example, I want to create a planning run for 2013. I created that example here. I simply mark that cost plan, hit execute planning run, and then I come to another report. This report looks quite complicated with a lot of fields, but actually it's pretty simple to deal with. So you have only to enter two major things. The first thing, unfortunately, is at the bottom of the report, where you verify that you selected the right cost plan. You have to provide the planning currency, so we take euros for example. You can also add a text. For example, we want to add detailed planning, so we can use it later to give it to our managers. And the other thing is you have to select an organizational unit from where you want to start the cost plan. So you serve to your org unit, select a specific one, and then hit the button. So just to provide the euros again, and then it's ready with a cost plan. This view is pretty similar to what you've seen from the data collection. So you find your cost objects here with their object ID, you find your cost items, and you find a lot of amounts here. So basically two things just were added to the data collection. The first thing is the assignment to a cost unit. So in the previous one you simply had the cost object with its costs, and now it's assigned to a cost unit. That can be either an organizational unit, or in a different view could be a cost center or a project or whatever you need for your cost distributions. Another thing which was added is you see a lot of more cost items here. So in our data collection we just had the basic pay and we had the special payments. Now we find an employer contribution, we find salary increases, we find also statistical key figures like full-time equivalents or headcounts. So this so-called additional cost items, because they come additional in the planning run, can be configured either via configuration, so you do that in the customizing steps of the personal cost planning, or you do that in customer-specific implementations. So for this planning run you also have several options to view the data. So for example you can go for a monthly view where you see the data per month, or you can also aggregate the data, so you want to see the total cost per cost item. So for example you want to see for that cost plan what's my basic pay.